Hey up there, it's me, your crotch. My living conditions down here are deplorable. The itch and burn are too much. Scrub me with medicated Fungi Cure Wash when you shower and say hasta la vista to jock itch. Get Fungi Cure Wash at Walmart and Rite Aid. Do it now!
Welcome to Define You Radio. Class is in session with your host, the Southern Belle of Bold, Valencia Griffin-Wallace. Are you ready to unapologetically build your confidence, achieve goals, and design a life worth living? Learn the life lessons and strategies to define your life, money, and business. Pens and papers ready? Class is now in session.
Yes, I just had to hear the whole thing play out. Guys, welcome back. I've missed you guys. I've missed doing my live show. And if you're new to the show, of course, you're just hearing my voice. But for my old heads, my faithful listeners, you know we took the month of August off. I enjoyed it and didn't at the same time. I was even listening to my old shows, just trying to get pumped up because I'm like, oh, I'm ready. So I'm really excited to be back. I hope you guys miss me as much as I missed you. But for the new listeners, I have to do this right, guys. So let me get formal with it, okay? Welcome to Define You Radio, classes in session, where you get the tips, strategies, and life lessons from queens who have defined their life. I'm your host, the Southern Belle of Bold, Valencia Griffin-Wallace. Make sure you follow and connect with the show on Blog Talk Radio and Define You Radio's Facebook page for updates and more. Because if you are following us on Facebook, you know we took a vacation. Okay, so even though you guys probably know what we're talking about, but I am going to tell you, of course, even though October is officially Domestic Violence Awareness Month, I think is the official title of it, this month we are talking about domestic violence for several reasons. Number one, because domestic violence happens every day. And also I am blessed to be speaking at an event in New Orleans this month discussing domestic violence and my experience. I do believe on the Define You Radio Facebook page, I posted my live video where I talked a little bit about that. So a little bit over a month ago, I think around one of our last shows, we welcomed this queen to the show. And you guys know once they come on, they're like part of the family, but I still have to be formal for the new listeners. So we welcome Miss Evelyn Donaldson to the show. Evelyn is one of the best-selling authors of transition. She's I can't even talk. See, guys, like, bear with me. We've been on vacation, okay? She's a wife, mother, and educator. She loves to write poetry and hopes to inspire women through her writing. If you guys read her story in transition, you will see that she did just that and continues to do it. I'm very much looking forward to see what she has in her bag of tricks next. So she believes women can overcome barriers to fulfill their purpose like she did, like I did, like I'm sure a lot of you guys, if you haven't, that's your goal, to overcome barriers, adversity, whatever title you want to put on it, and get to the good stuff of life. So I had to kind of get the playfulness out the way because it really is a serious show. I will attempt not to get in my feelings too much, but domestic violence is something very close to my heart. And it's something that happens every day. So with that being said, if you guys joined us last time Evelyn was on, you know, we did touch on her domestic violence experience. With that being said, enough for me. Let's welcome Evelyn to the show. Yay! That's my clapping
Hi,
sound.
everybody.
It's like I see. It's like once you've been on once, it's just like we're at home just talking, and you're here. So yay! So Evelyn, why don't you fill in the blanks for the people that don't know you or didn't get a chance to hear you when you were on the show previously?
Well, you kind of mentioned a lot. I'm a wife, still a newlywed.
Yay! Wait,
A
didn't y'all have
mother
an
of-
anniversary?
It's coming
Didn't y'all?
up. November
Okay,
4th.
okay.
Yep. November 4th, it'll be a year. I'm a mother of 3 grown children, 24, 22, and 20. And like I said before, I am a grandma, not a grandma, but a grandma of a 2-year-old. I'm an educator, and hopefully this will be my last year of teaching, almost 20 years. I am really going for not retiring, but to come out of the classroom next year. I want to be still in education, but consulting teachers, how to be great teachers. My time is really up in the classroom. And I also want to continue writing poetry and doing a full story of my story that was in the book transition. So I'm going to be working on that. And I want to do something with young women. I don't know. I've been praying and asking God to lead me to what I'm supposed to be doing as far as mentoring and coaching and inspiring around the issue of domestic violence, or even just helping women to just better themselves and building themselves up and understanding who they truly are and what they're worth. A lot of young women and women don't know that, So going through what I went through, not knowing my worth, I want to help other people or other women. Just people, period. It's men out there who don't know who they're, what they're truly worth. So just people, but mainly women. Those are my goals.
And I love that, and I definitely see you doing all of that, and it's much needed. I know when I was going through domestic violence, and I'm sure you could relate to this part, back then it wasn't, you kind of really kept it hush, and it was, I think, to me, back then, 10, 15, more years ago, it was put on the woman, like it was something for the woman to be ashamed about. But now it's like people are talking about it more, so the shame has kind of come off of the woman a little bit and more towards the man or the offender, however you want to say it. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it should be talked about more as in the younger ages, because I don't know if you know or be on Facebook as much, but you see a lot of videos with the youth and them thinking that it's okay, it's acceptable, so thinking that they're not being taught or no one is talking to them about the issue, or even knowing that it is an issue, because they're laughing about it. To see another young man put his hands on a young woman like she's a dude, punching her like she's a dude, it really hurts when I see something like that, and then hearing the people in the background laughing about it, because it's a norm for these young people to be out here fighting the way they do, or to see a couple and the guy is putting his hands on her the way he does, and no one is stopping him or stepping in or just teaching him the value of, that's a woman, that's a female. You don't treat her like that. How would you feel if someone put their hands on your mother, your sister, your grandmother? So who's talking to these young guys about things like that?
And well, I know I have a son and he's 20, and at the time I was going through my experience, he was like 2 or 3, give or take. And so, of course, he had an understanding of certain things at an early age, and we've discussed it. And because I wanted him to understand it wasn't acceptable either way, even though, of course, a lot of times he would see me in like fight mode. You know, he saw me hit, you know, he's seen that. And from a child's point of view, and that's why, you know, we need to have these discussions more in the household and just period, because that could give, I'm an aggressive woman. I don't know if that's the right term to use or not, but I'm confident and I'm very, very bold and sure of myself. And I would have no problem standing up to a man, right? Mm-hmm. Just because of how I am. And in that situation, of course, you know, that was a whole different thing. But like even now, you know, you go to the store, something like that, a man get out of hand like sometimes people do. And, I'll get a little extra and no fear in me, you know, but you just never know because the lines have blurred to where women, I don't know if females are getting more testosterone in their system, because you do see more girls, you know, buck up, so to speak, to young men and everything. And you do see more boys to where they feel like, you know, you stand up. And I think I've heard this before. You know, you stand up to me like a man, I'm going to hit you like a man. So, right. And I have a son, and Lord, I would probably die 3 times if I found out he hit a girl. However, yeah, like three times, just because I know how strong he is. But on the other hand, if he said, well, Mom, this girl, you know, got in my face and slapped me and did this and this, I'm not going to lie, and I'm going to be 100% honest. I would say, well, you know what, did you slap her or something? Or why you didn't call me? You know, it's even with the girlfriend he had, I remember, you know, telling her, I know my exact words, I know you young girls today, okay? I'm just telling you guys what I said, okay? I said, I know you young girls today kind of like, you know, feeling yourselves and all cocky and everything else. I said, but if you ever put your hands on my son, it's going to be a whole different ball game. Mm-hmm. I never had that issue. I just felt like it needed to be said because I do observe both the young women these days and the young men. And so as an educator, I would like your perspective on that. And then I want you to tell your experience with domestic violence.
So, you know, I see it in the classroom. I've seen it. I work with preschoolers, so, you know, it's hard to, you know, talk about that type of issue with, you know, preschoolers. So I kind of downplay it a little bit, especially when I see the boys doing, you know, the girls the wrong way or whatever. And then it starts with bullying, too. So I've seen it in, you know, 4th grade class that I've, you know, taught. 2nd grade class, it really starts, you know, young. It's only so much we can do as educators in the classroom. So I kind of, you know, I talk to parents and I'm like, okay, this is where it starts. You need to talk to your son, you know, about hitting. You know, I don't play that, well, if somebody hits you back, I mean, if somebody hits you, hit them back. You know, I don't do those type of things in the classroom. And you shouldn't be teaching your child that at home, you know, unless it gets to that type of situation, you know, because there are other ways to solve a problem. You know, we don't result in hitting first because you just never know. But I talk to my parents, you know, this is where it starts. It starts at this age, you know, teaching children don't hit on each other, but mainly the boys. And I hate to pinpoint just on the boys because girls hit too. But if you start young to teach your boy your young man, that, you treat a girl with respect. You hold the door for them. You pull out their chair, things like that. Raise them in a way where they're just appreciating females. That's just where it starts. It starts young. So I teach my kids in the classroom, preschoolers, how to, help the girls, okay? Don't tease the girls, or don't push on the girls, or, just be nice in general. And then to us, because we're all women in the classroom, it's like, that's how you're going to treat your teacher, bring us flowers, and things like that. So teaching them young, in the classroom. But we can't go to these homes and talk and raise these kids. We can only do so much in the classroom. And sometimes parents don't want to hear it, but I pull them to the side and I just be real. I don't know what's going on at home. I don't know if, little Billy is seeing things at home, but this is what's going on in the classroom. And if you approach parents like that and you just be real, sometimes they'll tell you the truth. Yeah, me and my husband or my child father, whatever, they saw us fighting, and I tell them, like, they bring their stuff to the classroom. Whatever they see at home, whether you guys know it or not, they tell us things and they show it in their behavior. So, then that's just starting young.
I don't know how my son, because I thank God he's 20. I was a young parent. I was that parent. If somebody hit you, you better hit them back. I was ready to come to the school if I needed to. I was that parent, but he was not that kid. So I'm very, very glad for that, because I was like on 10 and ready from the moment I got pregnant. I was like, Lord, don't let me have to be one of those parents that go to the school and everything else. I was like, I was ready, because I knew I was having a son, so that's a whole different thing than having a girl. You got to be ready in a different way. So I just, he's a good kid, and if he didn't look like me, I wouldn't know he was mine, because he's a way calmer version, whereas growing up, my mom had to come to the school because I was fighting boys and stuff, So that lets you guys know your kids don't get everything from DNA. That's the point of that. So, because otherwise, So, Evelyn, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your domestic violence experience?
Whew. So going back to what I experienced, and then talking about, children. First of all, my kids didn't know what was going on at home. I know my oldest son, he probably had an idea, like, mommy's sad all the time or something like that. He just had that type of intuition to just know mommy wasn't okay. But as far as what they saw, I really tried to keep that out of their sight. One, because I wanted my boys to, I guess, paint this picture of who this person was around them. I didn't want them to see the ugly part. You have the good, the bad, and the ugly. I didn't want them to see the ugly part. I wanted them to continue to look up to this person, as a male role model, as a father figure. I didn't want them to, know that this person was treating mommy the way that he was treating me, So I didn't talk bad about him. None of that. It was, I put on the fake smile, everywhere I went, everything that I did, I, put on a fake smile. So I never wanted them to see that part. Even, after he passed, it was still, I didn't, talk bad about him, in that type of way. But low self-esteem, that's where it starts. Low self-esteem. I was raised by women. Let me go back to that. I was raised by women. It was 10 of them, 10 girls and 2 boys that my grandmother had. So, my mother being a part of that dominant, don't let a man do this to you,
Mm-hmm.
or, and she would always say, somebody, you want to kill him, but it was never being taught, don't take this from a man because of this, because you're a queen, because you don't deserve, it was just the violence, more violence.
Right.
If somebody put their hands on you, I'm going to do this. That's just leading to more violence, not teaching
Right.
me, how to be a woman. I had to read books and, go to church and just basically grow into the woman that I am today. And some things you go through for a reason. I had to go through that to be the person that I am today. I wouldn't have the story that I have to share with other women if I didn't go through that. But being around dominant women who fought gang members, at growing
Right.
up, to tell them something like that would have just caused some more chaos. So I kept it to myself. I dealt with it. We didn't have those type of conversations in the family where people sit down and, talk about personal issues like that and let me help you resolve it. It was more about, I'm going to tell you what to do. This is what you need to do. And sometimes when you're in that type of situation, you don't need anybody telling you what to do. You need someone to console you and comfort you and say, I'm here for you, or how can we make things better? How can we help you? You don't need someone saying, girl, you better get out, or girl, you better throw some hot grits on him, or, because you just never know. So when I hear situations like that, I think back, those things that you hear on TV about women being killed by their husbands or the abuser, it's real. You hear, oh, this woman was stalked by her husband. She had a restraining order. She was killed in the elevator or was following. Those things are real, and people just don't understand that there's no way out. It really isn't, especially if you're being threatened. And I'm a type of person, I take threats seriously. I don't take them lightly. So if you're being threatened, you have to watch your back. So, for instance, I was told several times, I got something, a device on your car. So don't think you're going to get away or you're going to leave me. I'm having you followed, or I know how many miles it takes for you to get to work. I reset the thing on your car where I know how long it takes or how many miles it takes for you to get to the grocery store, things like that. And I'm looking at my car like, hey, it wasn't set at 0, so he's not lying. Those type of things. And just being threatened with a gun or a knife or something like that. And if you tell your family, I'm going to have my family come, and I didn't want that type of stuff. My family involved in those type of things because of something that I chose to be in. But I couldn't go to my family for that one reason. And then, like I said, the women that I was raised around, it wasn't problem solving. It was just, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, or you should do this. So I didn't go to them, for that reason alone, and because it was just hard to not pay attention to the threat. I love my children. I love my life. If anybody asked me today, well, why did you stay? I might be like, I don't know. I was in it. I was just in that type of situation. It was like I couldn't get out. So when people ask me, or if somebody asked me today, I wouldn't even know what to say, but it was no way to just get out like that. It's not easy to get out of a situation like that. On top of the manipulation, 1 minute you're fighting that person, but then the next minute, oh, I love you, I didn't mean it. It was the alcohol, I was upset, you made me do it, because abusers are very good at manipulating you to thinking that it's your fault. Then you have to rethink it like, dang, I did raise my voice. Oh, man, I shouldn't have said that like that. Or, anything. You start rethinking your behavior and start changing what you do, how you talk, how you walk, how you act, so that it wouldn't lead to a smack or, anything like that. But when I think back, like, it wasn't me. It nothing I did would have ever been right anyway, because it wasn't me. It was that person.
And you hit on so many things, and then I'm a ask you a question, but it takes years to undo the mental part of it, because you do question, well, maybe if I wouldn't have did this, or I know with me, maybe if I lose weight, maybe if I cook more, maybe if I work less, like my self-esteem was already fragile or not where it needed to be going in. And then into the relationship, I really felt like I was like a mess. I was like, it's not right, but it starts to make sense. So it's like, okay, something really is wrong with me, because, he was this way when I met him, or he was this way. So maybe something's wrong with me, because now I'm making him act this way.
Right.
Right. So how did your situation end? And, well, what's the worst time that you could remember? And how did the situation end?
The worst time that I can remember, it was actually 2 points in my life. One part I told in the book, which is why that was just like a little snippet of what happened and what was going on, which is when I went to the hospital. I just couldn't take it anymore. That was the first time that the worst time happened. Me just breaking, not being able to hold on to everything that I was dealing with, getting tired of getting smacked around, nosebleed, fighting, because I had started just fighting back. I didn't have any more energy to fight back, and that's when I just broke. I let go, and I tell the story of how I drove myself to the hospital. That was the first time. The second time was right before he passed. I removed myself out of the bedroom because I just felt like no husband should be treating their wife the way he was treating me. Like, it was worse than a movie, I was spit on, I got cigarettes flicked on me. I mean, just everything, anything that somebody could think of, I dealt with. And then along with the alcohol, like the way he was drinking, it just made the situation worse. When somebody has that much anger and rage in them, you can't mix that with alcohol. So staying up late at night to 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, listening to the ramp and the rage in the other room. Like, I'm in another room.
Like you could hear it coming.
Room. Right. Like, oh, he come,
Right.
I'm in the bed, and it's like, oh, my God. And so I would just be up all night listening to him ramp and rave. Like, I got to go to work in the morning. I don't care. And, like, really? And going to work with bags under my eyes because I'm just so sleepy, or I was up crying, or, everything. I was going to school and working, taking online classes, but still. So just dealing with all of that, and, so it went from, okay, I can't hit her anymore because she's fighting me back. I was picking up stuff like, okay, you're going to hit me, I'm going to hit you with this, putting things under my pillow, So every day it was something, walking on eggshells, fighting over the car. So it ended with, of course, it ended with him passing away. At that point again where I was letting go. I was letting go of life, being drugged down, not sleeping. It was like, God, I can't do this. I can't do it no more. And I felt myself going into what I went into the last time when I went to the hospital. And I'm like, I can't do this. I can't live like this anymore. It's either him or me. I can't do it. he left me at work one day, took the car, left me at work, and he was like, have a nice life, you know. And it was like, you keep letting me sleep by myself. And I was like, I don't care if you go to the grave by yourself. And that was the last thing I said to him. And he left and didn't come back home. And I think, I don't know.
Did he get in an accident or?
Died in his sleep.
Wait, what did you say? He died in his sleep? He died in his sleep.
Yep.
Wow.
Died in his sleep. So I don't know. I always think back to my prayers, you know, saying, God, I can't do this no more. But I can't stay in this marriage. I can't stay in this abuse. I can't fight anymore. I can't pretend. And, you know, I can't go to work sleepy. It was just like my life was in a hurricane because it was just so much going on and just me fighting and just trying to keep everything together. Then I'm like, should I call the police? Should I, you know, tell somebody? I was getting to that point of, okay, if I tell somebody, oh, well, and he find out, oh, well, because I just can't hold on anymore. It was just getting to that point, you know, of I shouldn't have to be sleeping with a knife under my pillow, and I'm married to this person. So it was getting to that point. So I was beginning again to let go. I was beginning to let go again of just not knowing what to do anymore, just tired of holding on. And that's when that happened. And it was like, it was either him or me. You know, God was either going to take him or I was going to fall into that depression again and maybe this time go to the hospital and not come back out because I was losing it. I was losing it again.
So, and let me throw this hashtag real talk out there. Were you relieved when he died? And I know that's kind of like a messed up question, but it's an honest one. After I got over the death, the shock, like, man, and I started the healing process and, you know, going to the groups and therapy and things like that, then I started realizing, like, how toxic it was for me, how toxic it was just for my life, period, and what I was holding on to for so long. We were together for 15 years, and I want to say 13 of those years was fighting on and off. You know, we had good times, but more bad times than others, you know, forgiving him, you know, the manipulation and just falling into the lies, you know, things like that. But I started looking back like, that was a lie, that was a lie, that was a lie, you know. And, like, why were you so dumb? Leave those type of things. You know, I went into that phase, but then realizing, like, no, you wasn't dumb. It wasn't you. But I did go through that. Like, how could you not see that? How could you not see the lies? How could you not see that he was manipulating you? How could you stay in something that was so dangerous? How could you put your kid in that type of situation? You know, just I went through so much, but then like I said in the beginning, I had to think, like, you had to go there because you were scared for your life, for your kids' life, because of all the things that he was saying. I'm gonna do this to you. I'm gonna follow you. I'm gonna have you killed. You know, just everything. So I had to realize that when you are in a situation like that, it's not you. 99% of the time, it's not you. People don't deserve to be abused mentally, physically, whatever. So I had to realize that. So once I learned all of that and started loving myself again and, you know, getting back into church, because I had stopped going to church because of him. I stopped going to church. I sat out of church for years. But once I started going to church and loving myself again and loving God and, you know, who he made me to be, I was relieved. Like, Lord, thank you for sparing me. Thank you. Thank you. You know, so, yeah, I was able to breathe again and start loving myself again and just start liking me and what I want to do again.
the writing, I stopped writing because of him, and I got back into everything that I loved about me.
And it I'm sure pretty much consumes your life and your whole being. Because you said you were in it like 15 years, so I don't know how old you are, and I'm not going to try to do the math, but you were, late?
I was young.
Late teens?
I was young.
Like 17, 18,
I was like
somewhere?
22.
Okay.
No, I was like 22, 23. Still young. Okay. Yeah, still young when we met. And, it was like, oh, he got one. A young girl, don't know a lot. Because I wasn't a street girl. I was, in the books. I didn't really know a lot about, a lot, So learning from him and him being able to just, show me things and, take me places, he wooed me in, and he had one, So it's like, no, those people don't care about you, don't do that.
Right.
Don't go out with them people because, the manipulation, the control. It was a lot of the controlling. Control my thoughts, control my actions.
I think one of and I meant to print them out, but I will, to discuss them, but I will post them because there's different signs of abuse and before the actual hitting. And I think a lot of people need to understand that, at least with my situation, and I'm sure with yours, Evelyn, it didn't go like right into punching your face or slap you.
Right.
There was a whole build up to that. And now looking back all these years later, like I could see it like little by little.
Yep.
But I understand. I always said that I went through that experience because before I went through the experience, any woman I knew that was going through domestic violence, or whatever else, I would be the first one to say, you're stupid. What's wrong with you? You let some man hit on you and, why you just can't leave. I had no sympathy whatsoever for women that were in domestic violence situations until I ended up in one. And I said, I do believe God, nothing is a coincidence, and we go through things for a reason, because I think a lot of people have that perception that, it's, a weak woman or, something wrong with her, or she's stupid or whatever, like no sympathy like what I had. And then when I went through it, it's crazy because a lot of people couldn't believe that I went through it because, you'll fight anything and anybody, and how you deal with this and how you deal with that. So it was kind of like people couldn't believe I was going through it because I've always been so tough, and for the hardest time, I couldn't believe I was going through it. Like I refused to look at it like I was a victim of domestic violence because we were fighting like two men in the street going toe to toe. Like that was one of my biggest issues. Like I refused to accept that, okay, at the end of the day, Valencia, you are a domestic violence victim. I would have argued you down. No, me and my husband fight sometimes,
Right.
and I may come out with the bad end, because I'm the one with the bruises or the weave pulled out the tracks on the floor when the cops come, but no, there's no domestic violence. We just fight, which I think that, people definitely need to change their discussions about it because it's not normal.
And then
you shouldn't
see
have
movies
to,
like Tina Turner, what they went through, like.
And then everybody's cheering for her when she finally fights back, but that still didn't change the situation.
Exactly.
One of the movies, and it's like so old, but I remember watching this movie as a kid called The Burning Bed. With Farrah Fawcett. You saw that? It's like that movie is like older than my son, I know.
Yeah.
I remember watching this movie as a kid. So I'm watching this man, beat her, and she couldn't get out. Because if you remember correctly in the movie, he found her wherever she went, and it seemed like everybody blamed her and she blamed herself, and then the only way she got out was setting them on fire. I remember that movie like I last saw it yesterday, and it's been some years. So even as a child, those images were ingrained in me, and I looked at it like, what she should have left, and I was all she should have left, and y'all stupid, until I got into that situation, which, like I say, everything happens for a reason. It was definitely so I could say, look, because I'm pretty tough. I think, maybe not when I'm all cute and made up with my skirts on social media, but in my everyday life, I'm pretty tough. I lift weights and everything. So to see that, and for me to say, yeah, I was in a domestic violence situation, helps people get a different perspective of it. And guys, if you have any questions or comments, you can put them on the Facebook page, or if you press 1 on your phone, I will go ahead and get you on the line with me and Miss Evelyn. So I printed out some statistics, and it says 20 people per minute. 20 people per minute are physically abused. So that means the show is roughly about 60 minutes. And callers, I see you. I'm going to get to you in 2 seconds. So the show is 60 minutes. So that means while we're on the show for 60 minutes, that is, 1,200 people are abused while we're on the show, if my math is correct. Evelyn, you're the educator. Is my math right?
What was, give me the number again?
It's 20 people per minute, and the show is 60 minutes. So is that like 1,200 people are being abused while we're on the show?
Yep, 1,200.
That's like, yeah.
That's too many.
That's crazy. And wow. So okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take one of the calls. 1 second. Go ahead, caller. Last 2 numbers, 74.
Yeah. I'm a victim of domestic violence, and like, it's hard as a man to actually tell people that, even though I've been out of it for years. My question is, like, even though I have been out of the relationship for years, is there, like, any place that I can go for therapy? Because I find myself in situations to where I get nervous, and the first thing I do is I get aggressive and turn to violence. And I'm not a violent person at all. I'm not violent at all. But the aggression and it just comes. It's like it's naturally there, and it's not.
It's a number one. I'm sorry to hear that you went through that, and I'm glad you're out of it. And one of the things that I would like to say is that, now the healing process for you begins, because you're going to have that reflex. You're not just going to be able to have like a regular argument with somebody because you're used to the argument turning to fighting. And it's almost like a PTSD, or it's almost like an earthquake, and you're still feeling the aftershocks. And I would suggest, and I will get a number and post it, but I do have a website. It's the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. I would start there and contact them and see if they could recommend some resources local to you where you could call, even just to talk it out. Because before I went to counseling and everything else, I just needed somebody just to listen, just to tell me I wasn't crazy and it wasn't my fault.
Right.
And that was the start. So I will get the number and post it on Define You Radio's Facebook page and the website. But it is called National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. Because that's where I got I have the number right here. And I'll still post it on the website. Their phone number, their main office, the phone number is area code 303. The phone number is 839-1852. And like I said, I will also post it on Define You Radio's Facebook page. You could inbox me if you didn't, don't get it or anything. I will definitely assist as much as I can with resources, because now this is where the real work begins. So, Evelyn, would you like to go ahead and add to that? And I'm going to go ahead and post a number on the Facebook page.
Well, I was going to say the same thing about the PTSD. Not that people are diagnosed with it just because, you have the symptoms, but it is something to think about. And post-traumatic stress disorder is really just having flashbacks, having those reactions. You can have PTSD from being in a car accident. And so you carry, because it chips away at you, even though you think it doesn't, it's just like for me, I will never be the same person, ever, because it did chip away something. Not saying that I'm a whole, everything that happened, that make me think about, what happened. And because I dealt with it for so long, I have so many memories, so many, bad thoughts about what happened, that just about anything that has to do with domestic violence, if I see something on TV, if I see it, I get a little teary-eyed. So those symptoms are going to be there regardless. But it's how you deal with them. Do you stay in that moment, weep for hours and hours, or do you, reflect and let the healing process begin? Self-reflection is a big part of it, saying to yourself that, it's not happening anymore, not making sure that you're not going to put yourself in that situation anymore, being careful and watchful of, people that come into your life that are manipulating, that are controlling, because Valencia, you said it starts there. It doesn't start with the smack. It doesn't start with the punch or whatever. It starts mentally. Like, people, they start controlling your every move. They start controlling, what you wear, how you talk, how you walk, and you just have to be watchful of that. But knowing that, you're okay now, you're out of that situation, and just, and seeking professional help, that's most important, and making sure that you talk it out and allowing people to help you heal.
And I'll add this, and then I'm gonna go to the next caller. And don't be ashamed, because that will keep you from healing. So you need to definitely get with either, this organization. I did post the information on Define You Radio's Facebook page, to where you could just be 100% honest. I used to have nightmares afterwards. I used to, when I saw someone that just favored him a little bit, the same skin tone, same hairstyle, I would have an anxiety attack. I had one in Walmart parking lot I'll never, ever forget. I had to pray it off me, and I really had to really do some self-work. And one thing I'm going to tell you, do the self-work, because now I have a happy, healthy relationship that I didn't think I ever was going to have. And Evelyn does too. But you need to definitely do that self-work to protect you, because you deserve to have a happy, healthy relationship, and you deserve to have a great life. And so now it's like time to take off the Band-Aid and let it all out so you can heal. And I hope we helped. You can always reach out to me on Facebook. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Did that help?
You definitely did. Yeah, it definitely did. Because when I tell you, like, it started affecting my attendance in church, me going to work, or me just, like, being around people, period. Like, it almost got to the point where I started locking myself in the house. Like, I just didn't want to do nothing. Yeah, so. It helped. It helped a lot. It really did. It helped a lot.
Well, you well, thank you so much for saying that. You're already starting your healing process, and like I said, I posted the information on the Define You Radio's Facebook page, and you know, if you could always inbox me on Facebook.
Yes,
and I will find more resources where you are. And so that's what I have to say. And thank you so much. And just do the work, and it'll be worth it at the end.
Thank you so much.
Yes, it will.
Thank you, hon.
Thank you too, Miss Evelyn.
You're welcome.
Okay. Let me get caller, your number ends with 18. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, welcome to Define You Radio.
Hello, how you doing? I just want to tell a young lady, Evelyn, of course I've been knowing her for over 10 years, how proud I am that she told her story. She don't know the blessing that she shared her story, how much it helped others. I've known her, but I didn't always know her story. And when I found out the story, I was wow, because I didn't know she would be able to go through that, because if you know her, she was so strong, and I didn't know that, she was going through this, because when she came to work, so she inspired me to do better at work and in my own life. I can remember her talking to her when one time she was married, and she was talking to me about the relationship and how they talked to 3, 4, 7 o'clock in the morning. I didn't know the conversations they was having. I just knew that I wanted that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, wow, this is what I want, because at the time when I was married, me and my husband didn't communicate at all. So I wanted that, and I prayed for that, never knowing the conversations that she was actually having with him. You know, so even though the relationship I was in was toxic, I still wanted to have a relationship like hers, so because I always seen her like full of life, and she made a business to do that, be a model for those kids, and then be a model for us as well.
Well, thank you, Evelyn.
Yes.
You're supposed to respond to that.
I didn't know what to say. I was laughing, but it was more of a chuckle, because she would tell me, oh, we was up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. She like, ooh, so what? You know how people like, so what? Y'all got that type of relationship, not knowing we wasn't just talking, we were arguing and fighting and things like that. That's why they say be careful when you wish that you had what somebody else had, because you don't know what they got. You don't know the shoes that they walking in. So be careful when you like saying, "Ooh, Lord, I want what she got." Be careful, because you don't know what that person got. Just because we are talking at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, it doesn't mean we were having a healthy conversation. Yes. Well, you know now, but you didn't know before. Right. So for the listeners, right. So for the listeners out there, just be careful, because you don't know what people are going through. They might be showing you something, and you telling yourself, "Oh, I want what she got, or I want what he got," and you just never know what they have at home or what they going home to deal with. So just be careful.
You said it 150%. You're 150% correct. Because me and him, we were that couple to go out to the club and dress somewhat alike and have fun, and a lot of people wish that, I wish I could go out with my man and have fun and party and that kind of stuff. And, well, like, alcohol definitely is the icing on an already bad cake.
Yeah.
So we would have fun at the club, but when we got home from the club, I knew, take them heels off and be ready, because it's about to be some foolishness. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, caller, thank you. And that's welcome. From Evelyn, too, because I think Evelyn is still speechless a little bit on the line.
I love you, Evelyn. Thank you.
That 60 minutes, because we have like 5 minutes left, and it's really been a great, powerful show. And we definitely, and guys, we are talking about domestic violence all month. Because I think it's a conversation that we need to have. We need to have with our kids. We need to have we need to discuss it and talk about it, so that I don't know that it will ever stop, but people need to know that they're not alone. You need to know that,
be aware.
Right. Definitely of the signs, because the signs, and one of the things I do want people to realize, and then Evelyn, I'm going to make sure everybody has your contact information, but one of the things I want people to be aware of is that there's so many ingredients in the gumbo that is domestic violence. That's the only way I could say it. Or in intimate violence, I don't know what the politically correct term is, but emotional abuse. So let's say you're with a man or a woman that never hit you, but they call you stupid, ugly, fat, you can't cook, things that make you feel bad, that if somebody on the street said it to you, you would be ready to go toe to toe.
Right.
That is considered domestic violence. And
because
those
in
are
the home.
Right. Right. Thank you because I was like, is it still domestic violence if it's that way? But okay, thank you. See, that's why you're the educator and I'm the talk show host. So class is in session. There's also like financial abuse. Like if you're depending on someone for your financial resources and they use it as a means to control you. I've had that happen. No, I won't bring my paycheck home. I'm not going to pay bills. And then I'm like, I didn't sign up for this because I'm supposed to stay home and play that part. But that is a form of control and a form of domestic violence. So those are my don't.
A lot of people don't. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Evelyn.
What a lot of people don't realize, and it happens so often in our homes, is that ignoring your significant other, spouse, partner, whatever, you get into an argument and that person might not speak to you for a few days and you're trying to talk to them, but they're like mute. That's emotional abuse. Me researching on, and learning about what I dealt with, I'm like, oh my God. A lot of people just don't know that. And it might be both of you doing it to each other. So you emotionally abusing each other because you're ignoring someone. So it's part of control, but again, it's, I don't want to talk to you because I'm mad at you, and it might be something that you grew up doing or you just don't know, but it is, if I'm not talking to you, I'm giving you the silent treatment. That's emotional abuse, because what does that do to somebody? It makes them feel bad, or it adds on stress to that person. So a lot of people just don't realize that.
Yeah, there's, like I said, domestic violence is a gumbo of different factors. In the best way I could say it, if it doesn't make you feel good, it may be abuse. It makes sense to me.
And it shouldn't be happening, period.
Right. Because we all deserve a happy, healthy relationship. And you really won't realize that, because a lot of times, especially if you didn't see it growing up, you don't even know that those things exist. You know, like you think it's fake, like things you see on TV where everybody's all happy and in love. I used to think that was fake, because even though I saw some domestic violence growing up, I didn't see any relationship that I wanted. Nobody had a happy and healthy relationship that I saw. So I just didn't think it existed. So we really have to start doing the emotional work. So, Evelyn, how can the listeners find out more about you, get in touch with you, get the book, transition, and read your story? Why don't you go ahead and drop your info?
Well, they can reach out to me by logging on to my new website, inspirationalpsalms.com. So they can, learn about it. They can order the book, learn about different things that I'm doing. They can also find me on Inspirational Psalms for You, the number 4 U, the letter U, Facebook page. And they can email me, edonaldson35@gmail or inspirationalpsalms@gmail.com.
Okay. I hope you guys got all that. If not, it is on the Facebook page, at least the website. And you guys just click on her and get in contact with her. She has a powerful story, and I'm definitely looking forward to having her on the show regularly, because you're honest and you're transparent, and that's what we as people, kings and queens, that's what we need to heal. We need somebody that's going to tell you the story gloves off, not someone that's going to make it cute and only give you bits and pieces, but know somebody that tells you, I mean, this is what it is. And that's what Define You Radio is all about. So, guys, I know thank you so much for joining us tonight on our first show back. Like I said, we're going to talk about domestic violence all month long. I don't even have a quote for this week, but this show is a quote in itself. That's pretty much what I have to say. So pens and papers down. Class is officially over. Make sure you join us next week. Same time, same place. Make sure you check out Define You Live, because even the hurricane cannot stop us. Define You Live still will be happening in Houston, Texas, November 11th, 11/11/17. So we're talking about eliminating debt, telling your story, growing your home business, how to love your imperfectly perfect self, and more. Define You Live is my baby, like Define You Radio. So with that being said, guys, peace and love, and remember, only you can define you. I will see you next week.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Define You Radio. Class is in session. Connect with the show at www.defineyouradio.com. Pens and papers down. Class is over.
This is what I've always wanted.
Steve's got the stars.
Got a big old cushy chair. It's nice.
Today, Premiere Week keeps rolling with late-night legend Jay Leno.
How about that?
Plus Jordan Sparks. And coming Friday, Charlie Sheen and a performance by Leanne Rimes.
It's all new, and it's gonna be big.
And it's all on Steve.
New York, weekdays at 2 on NBC4, New York. This is what I've always wanted.
Steve's got the stars.
Got a big old cushy chair. It's nice.
Today, Premiere Week keeps rolling with late-night legend Jay Leno.
How about that?
Plus Jordan Sparks. And coming Friday, Charlie Sheen and a performance by LeAnn Rimes.
It's all new, and it's gonna be big.
And it's all on speed.
New York, weekdays at 2 on NBC4, New York.